Stop chasing outcomes and start aligning with them. The 33rd degree master key ushers you into manifestation's higher octave, the law of alignment. As you listen, you merge will with divine intention, and life moves to meet you. The 33rd degree master key, Introduction. You open a page that has waited for you since before your first breath. It speaks without ink. The master key is not seized by hand, but sung by your field. Those who knew, keepers of lamps in silent halls, left a cipher in the air. 33, the bridge number where Earth remembers its sky. You have reached a threshold the old ones called the thinning, where the lantern of the mind shines through to the ocean of the infinite. What was once veiled in temples and traded in whispers now rises as your inheritance. The law of attraction matures here into the law of alignment, not pulling, but becoming, not striving, but attuning your will to the current of the divine. As you walk these chapters, you will notice creation answering harmony, not effort. Thought, feeling, and choice fall into measure like strings tuning to the same note. The secret geometry of spirit, ratios, rhythms, holy numbers, steps out of abstraction and begins to breathe inside your chest. You are not ascending to a distant summit. You are unsealing a memory. The 33 degrees are not rungs, but unveilings, layers of sight returning to you, one clear veil at a time. Each degree offers a key, and each key unlocks a room you built long ago. In the choir of 33, a single truth resounds. You have never stood outside the tapestry. You are the thread and the weaver, the pattern and the loom. When this remembrance steadies, manifestation is no longer a chase across the desert. It is a spring that finds your feet. Desire stops running. It recognizes its home in you. What once felt like distance becomes identity. You and the fulfilling power are the same current wearing different names. Receive this not as news, but as recognition. The master key does not arrive. It awakens. Let the chord of 33 ring through your being, and watch the doors that never had locks swing open to your touch. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Part 1. The Foundation of Mastery. Chapter 1. The Hidden Door Within. In a village lost to time, there lived a woman named Margaret who spent her days following familiar patterns, each sunrise bleeding into sunset without distinction. One autumn morning, while clearing cobwebs from her attic's shadowed corners, her hand brushed against something cold and metallic. There, beneath years of accumulated dust, lay an ornate key of mysterious origin. As she held it, a strange warmth spread through her fingers, as if the key itself carried life's pulse within its brass curves. The truth you now uncover mirrors Margaret's discovery. What appears as an external find merely awakens what already exists within. The master key's power does not lie in metal and mechanism, but in the sacred geometry of thought itself. Your thoughts are not mere whispers in the wind or clouds drifting overhead. They are living codes, each one carrying a specific magnetic frequency that shapes the fabric of your reality. When these thought codes operate in discord, they create a maze of confusion, leading to doors that seem forever locked. Yet when harmonized with your deepest truth, these same codes become keys that unlock every chamber of possibility, The universe responds not to what you wish for, but to the vibrational signature you emanate. This understanding illuminates why some spend years seeking what remains elusive. They search outside for what can only be activated from within. The key Margaret found in her attic was but a mirror, reflecting the dormant power she carried all along. In distant mountains, a young apprentice named Chen spent 7 years studying under a wise teacher. His master presented him with an ancient lock, saying it contained wisdom beyond measure. Chen tried every physical key and tool, yet the lock remained steadfast. One morning, as sunlight streamed through temple windows, Chen understood. The lock responded not to metal, but to the perfect alignment of intention and emotion. As his heart and mind turned together in harmony, the lock opened without touch, revealing only a mirror within. The lock, Chen faced, exists within you now. Your thoughts and feelings must turn together like the mechanics of a perfect key. When intention aligns with emotional truth, every door in the universe opens without resistance. For your morning practice, find a quiet space as dawn approaches. Close your eyes and visualize a golden key turning within your chest, its movement synchronized with each heartbeat. With every inhale, let these words rise from your depths. I am the door. I am the key. This is not mere ritual. It is the awakening of your original power, the first turn of the master key that has always been yours. Chapter 2. The Geometry of Thought. Throughout history, countless beings have unknowingly shaped their realities through the sacred language of form. Such was the case with Edwin, a quiet shopkeeper who filled his ledger's margins with intricate patterns during idle moments. At first, these drawings seemed mere diversions, spirals merging into triangles, circles intersecting with squares. Yet as days passed, Edwin noticed something extraordinary. His sketches preceded events with uncanny precision. A hexagonal pattern drawn on Tuesday manifested as 6 unexpected guests on Wednesday. A series of ascending triangles preceded a profitable week. Your thoughts, like Edwin's drawings, are not random mental wanderings. They are living geometries, sacred blueprints that precede physical manifestation. When you think, you weave patterns in the cosmic field, creating templates through which energy crystallizes into form. These patterns follow universal principles that have been whispered in temples since time immemorial. The triangle represents the trinity of intention, thought, feeling, and action united in perfect harmony. It is the shape of focused will, pointing toward manifestation. The circle embodies wholeness, completion, and the infinite nature of possibility. When you hold a thought within its perfect curve, you embrace its full potential. The square grounds ethereal visions into material form. It is the foundation upon which dreams become reality. In a distant village lived a seamstress named Maya, who crafted garments of remarkable beauty. Before touching her scissors to fabric, she would spend hours aligning patterns with unwavering attention. Those who rushed her work received merely adequate clothes, but those who honored her process wore garments that seemed to shine with inner light. The cut, she would say, is determined before the blade moves. Like Maya's careful preparation, your focused thought must precede manifestation. The geometric patterns you hold in consciousness become the templates through which the universe flows. Every thought carries a shape. Every intention builds a form. Every desire creates a pattern in the field of infinite possibility. Here lies a practice passed down through ages. As the sun rises, find solitude and center yourself in stillness. Choose a shape that resonates with your heart's desire, a triangle for focused achievement, a circle for completion, a square for material abundance. Hold this form in your mind's eye until it glows with golden light. Breathe deeply as you visualize this illuminated geometry merging with your energy field. With each breath, the pattern grows stronger, more vivid, more real. This is not imagination. It is sacred geometry in action, the ancient science of manifestation through form. You have silently encoded your intention into the universal field, where all possibility exists. Chapter 3. The Frequency of Desire. Lucille clutched her empty purse, muttering familiar complaints about rising prices and dwindling savings. Each morning she would gaze longingly at luxury store windows, her heart heavy with yearning, yet her words remained anchored to scarcity. "I'll never afford that," she would whisper, unknowingly weaving these threads of lack into the fabric of her reality. The language of the universe flows not through words, but through the silent symphony of vibration. Like a tuning fork that resonates only with its matching frequency, your desires must harmonize with your inner state. When your deepest feelings contradict your wishes, it is the feeling tone that the universe mirrors back. Within the infinite ocean of possibility, you become what you vibrate. Every thought carries an emotional charge, a distinct frequency that ripples through the cosmic web. These ripples return as the circumstances of your life, faithful echoes of your dominant vibration. In a distant coastal village lived Alessandro, a fisherman who understood this timeless truth. Each morning, before casting his nets into the sea, he would stand at the bow of his small boat, eyes closed in serene gratitude. "I thank you for the abundance that flows through these waters," he would say, even when his nets had been empty for days. While others complained of poor catches, Alessandro maintained his ritual of appreciation. He felt the weight of fish in his nets before they arrived, savored their silver scales glinting in the sun before they appeared. Soon his boat began returning heavy with fish while others wondered at his secret. Alessandro's secret lay not in technique, but in vibration. He had mastered the art of emotional alignment, feeling the reality of his desire before its physical manifestation. His gratitude was not a plea, but a recognition, an acknowledgement of abundance already present. The universe responds not to desperate wanting, but to the calm certainty of having. When you speak of lack while seeking abundance, you create a dissonance that blocks manifestation. Your words may reach upward, but your feeling tone anchors you to what you wish to escape. To transmute desire into reality, you must first transmute your vibrational signature. Let your emotions resonate with the frequency of fulfillment, not the frequency of wanting. Practice. Find a quiet space and settle into a comfortable position. For 5 minutes, immerse yourself in the sensory reality of your fulfilled desire. If it is abundance you seek, feel the peace of financial security in your body. Hear the sound of prosperity, perhaps the gentle rustle of papers being signed, or the confidence in your voice as you make empowered decisions. Taste the sweetness of freedom. Smell the fresh air of possibility. Touch the tangible rewards of your aligned state. This is not imagination, it is emotional rehearsal, training your being to vibrate at the frequency of manifestation. Chapter 4. The Resonance of Truth. Long ago, in a bustling marketplace, Dorothy moved through life like a shadow, carefully crafting each word and gesture to match what others expected. With practiced precision, she adjusted her opinions to suit her company, praising what they praised, criticizing what they condemned. Each morning she donned not just clothes, but an entire personality woven from others' expectations. The universe operates through pure vibration. When your words align with your truth, they carry the force of creation itself. But each time you speak against your inner knowing, you create interference patterns that cancel out your manifesting power. Like a crystal that develops cracks from repeated stress, your energy field fragments with every inauthentic expression. Truth itself exists at the highest frequency of universal law. It needs no decoration or alteration. Its power lies in its pure, unadorned state. When you speak truth, you align with this supreme current. Your words become channels for divine energy rather than barriers against it. Consider how water flows. In its natural state, it moves with perfect efficiency. But introduce obstacles, debris, dams, diversions, and its power diminishes. So too does your life force diminish when you divert it through masks and pretenses. Each falsehood, no matter how small, requires energy to maintain. This is energy diverted from manifestation. In a neighboring village lived a musician named Thomas who faced ridicule for his unusual melodies. While others played familiar tunes that pleased the crowd, he performed the strange songs that emerged from his soul. At first, few stopped to listen. But as months passed, something remarkable occurred. Those who heard his authentic music felt stirred by its pure vibration. His audience grew not through manipulation, but through the magnetic power of truth. Dorothy observed this transformation. She watched as Thomas's unwavering authenticity attracted exactly those who resonated with his genuine expression. His success arose not from adapting to others' expectations, but from allowing his inner light to shine unfiltered. The same principle governs all manifestation. When you align your outer expression with your inner truth, you create a clear channel for universal energy. This alignment magnetizes to you all that matches your authentic frequency. Practice. For one complete day, commit to absolute truth in every expression. Begin with your thoughts. Notice when you internally edit or censor yourself. Let your gestures flow naturally rather than calculated for effect. When you speak, allow words to arise from your deepest knowing, rather than social reflex. You need not speak every truth aloud, but maintain complete inner honesty. This practice of integrity creates an immediate energetic alignment, opening direct channels to manifestation. The power of your unfettered truth becomes a silent invocation, calling forth all that resonates with your authentic vibration. Chapter 5. The Law of Correspondence. In a bustling city lived Harold, a merchant who spent his days rearranging shop displays, reorganizing inventory, and relocating his business to more promising locations. Yet with each external change, his fortunes remained stagnant. He blamed the market, the location, the economy, never pausing to examine the tempest brewing within his own mind. Each morning, Harold would wake to find his thoughts scattered like leaves in autumn wind, his emotions churning like storm clouds. Still, He focused solely on adjusting the world around him, blind to the truth that his outer reality was but a mirror of his inner state. The universe operates through perfect reflection. Every circumstance you encounter serves as a looking glass, revealing the contents of your consciousness. When chaos surrounds you, it beckons you to examine the disorder within. When harmony eludes your grasp externally, it guides you to seek peace in your inner sanctuary first. Consider the wisdom of Ming, an ancient gardener whose flowers would not bloom, despite his constant attention to their petals and stems. For months he trimmed, watered, and fussed over the visible plants, growing increasingly frustrated as they withered. One day, while sitting in defeated silence, he noticed the soil beneath, compacted, depleted, lifeless. In that moment of clarity, he understood. The roots could not flourish in barren earth. Ming turned his attention to enriching the soil, understanding that healthy flowers could only grow from nourished foundations. Within weeks, his garden transformed, not through force, but through attending to the unseen source of growth. Like Ming's garden, your external reality grows from hidden roots. The circumstances you wish to change are flowering from soil you have yet to tend. Every relationship, every opportunity, every challenge reflects the quality of your inner terrain. The law of reflection operates with mathematical precision. You cannot receive what you have not cultivated within. Peace must first blossom in your heart before it can manifest in your world. Abundance must first take root in your consciousness before it can bear fruit in your experience. Before any action, pause and ask, "What is this moment reflecting from within me?" Recognition alone completes half the transformation. This simple practice bridges the gap between what you see and what you seek to change. When you tend to your inner garden first, the outer landscape naturally aligns with your cultivated state of being. This truth stands as one of the great pillars of manifestation. Lasting change flows from within to without, never the reverse. Your outer world will shift only when your inner world has been transformed. Begin there, in the sacred soil of your own consciousness, and watch as the universe mirrors your inner harmony with perfect precision. Chapter 6. The Alchemy of Emotion. In a bustling city lived Clara, a woman who believed that spiritual mastery meant suppressing all negative emotions. Each day she would force a smile while anger simmered beneath, pushing down any hint of displeasure or frustration. "The enlightened feel no anger," she would whisper to herself, storing years of unacknowledged feelings in her body's quiet chambers. Yet the universe speaks through the vessel of flesh, and Clara's body began to speak what her lips would not. First came the headaches, then the unexplained fatigue, until finally her physician discovered an inflammatory condition with no apparent cause. The truth remains, emotion is neither positive nor negative. It is pure life force seeking expression. Like water, it must flow. Like air, it must move. When you dam this sacred current, you do not eliminate its power. You merely force it to find another channel. In the depths of her healing journey, Clara met Thomas, a metal sculptor whose workshop glowed with the heat of creation. She watched, transfixed, as he approached the forge without fear, using intense heat to transform rigid metal into flowing forms of beauty. "Fire frightened me once," Thomas shared, noting her hesitation near the forge, "until I learned that the same force that destroys can also create. It's not about fighting the heat. It's about understanding how to work with it. These words awakened something within Clara. She began to see that her anger wasn't a flaw to eliminate, but a powerful force awaiting transformation. Just as Thomas used heat to soften metal into art, she could use awareness to transmute emotion into understanding. The law of correspondence teaches that all forces exist in harmony when properly understood. Resistance creates illness. Acceptance leads to mastery. Your emotions are not enemies to be conquered, but allies waiting to be understood. Each feeling carries a message, a potential for transformation. Through this acceptance, Clara's healing began, not by suppressing her emotions, but by honoring them as messengers of her inner truth. Her illness gradually subsided as she learned to acknowledge and transform her feelings rather than fight them. Ancient practice of emotional alchemy. When strong emotion arises, breathe it into your heart, visualizing it turning golden. Let every flame become creative light. This simple yet powerful practice transforms raw emotional energy into spiritual fuel, much as the forge transforms metal into art. Through this inner alchemy, you become not just the metal being shaped, but the masterful sculptor of your own experience. Begin by pausing the moment you feel the surge. Heat in the chest, tightness in the throat, electricity in the limbs. Place a palm over your heart and inhale slowly through the nose for a count of 4, as if you're drawing the feeling itself into the center of your chest. On the gentle 6-count exhale, picture the emotion bathing in a golden light. Dense becomes luminous, jagged becomes smooth. Continue for 3 to 5 rounds. Receive on the inhale, refine on the exhale. If images arise, a flame, a storm, a knot, let the gold flow around and through them until they soften. End with 1 normal breath and a quiet inner nod. This is creative light. What you're doing here is both energetic and practical. The hand-to-heart and slow exhale recruit your parasympathetic system, easing the body's alarm while keeping the emotion present enough to be transformed rather than suppressed. The visualization gives form to what's felt, naming without judging, and the gold frames the experience as valuable fuel instead of threat. In that state, clarity returns. Anger condenses into boundary, grief into devotion, fear into carefulness, excitement into steady drive. The raw ore of sensation becomes workable metal because you've provided heat, attention, containment, breath, and direction, imagery. To weave this into daily life, choose one anchor: morning practice, pre-meeting pause, or bedtime reset, and do 3 golden breaths even when you're calm. This builds the pathway you'll use under pressure. When strong emotion hits, step aside if possible, hand to heart, 3 rounds, then translate the light into 1 concrete action. Send the honest message, set the limit, take the next small step. Optionally, note in a journal. Emotion, gold, action. 1 line only. If intensity is overwhelming or trauma is activated, shorten the breaths, keep eyes open, or seek professional support. Over time, every flame in you learns its place in the forge, no longer consuming, but creating. Chapter 7. The Power of Symbolic Action. In a quiet village among ancient hills lived Beatrice, who faithfully lit 7 white candles each evening at sunset. She performed this ritual with dedication, yet the flames cast only physical light, for she had not imbued them with deeper meaning. Night after night, she struck her matches mechanically, her thoughts wandering to mundane concerns, unaware that every movement could carry the power of intention. The universe speaks in the language of symbols. Each gesture, when infused with conscious purpose, becomes a bridge between the visible and invisible realms. Your physical actions are more than mere movements. They are incantations written in the air, seeds planted in the fertile soil of possibility. Consider how the great temples of antiquity were built not merely with stone, but with prayer woven into every placed block. The masters of old understood that intention transforms ordinary acts into sacred ceremony. When you grasp this truth, the simplest task becomes an opportunity for manifestation. Your daily movements are brushstrokes on the canvas of reality. Each step, each gesture holds the potential to be charged with purpose. The difference between empty motion and magical action lies not in the movement itself, but in the consciousness behind it. In Beatrice's neighborhood lived Sophia, an elder known for her peculiar morning ritual. Every dawn she would fill her copper vessel with water and sprinkle it across her threshold. "I water the path for blessings to grow," she would say, her eyes twinkling with knowing wisdom. While others saw mere drops of water, Sophia was conducting a symphony of intention. Her simple act carried the weight of ceremony because she understood its deeper significance. Through Sophia's example, Beatrice began to understand. One evening, as she approached her candles, she paused. This time, she held each flame as a beacon of transformation. The first candle became courage, the second wisdom, the third abundance. Each wick now carried meaning, each flame danced with purpose. Her ritual, once hollow, now vibrated with power. The physical world bows to symbolic action when consciousness guides the hand. Your movements are spells, your gestures are prayers, your everyday acts are rituals waiting to be awakened. Practice. The ritual of conscious action. Select one physical action that you will perform daily, one that mirrors your deepest aspiration. Perhaps you'll open windows each morning to welcome abundance, or arrange objects with precision to manifest order in your life. The action itself matters less than the meaning you invest in it. As you perform this chosen act, move with complete presence. Feel the significance of each gesture. Know that through this conscious movement, you are writing your intentions into the fabric of reality. This is the alchemy of action, where simple movements charged with purpose become golden keys unlocking the gates of manifestation. Chapter 8. The Magnetic Word. In the bustling marketplace, Louis stood behind his stall, muttering curses at every setback. Each harsh word seemed to multiply his troubles: spilled merchandise, difficult customers, dwindling sales. The air around him grew thick with the static of his own creation, yet he remained blind to the power flowing from his tongue. Your words are not mere expressions of thought. They are commands to the universal field. When you speak, you wield a force as tangible as electricity, as transformative as light. The ancient mystics understood this truth, using sacred sounds to shape reality itself. They knew that every syllable carries a specific vibration. Every phrase emanates a precise frequency into the quantum fabric of existence. The universe responds not to the dictionary meaning of your words, but to their energetic signature. When you curse, you literally curse your field. When you bless, you magnetize grace. This is not metaphor, but mechanism, the fundamental physics of creative force. Throughout history, temples have preserved the science of sound. Gregorian chants, Vedic mantras, and Sufi zikr all harness the same principle. Intentional sound creates intentional reality. The vowels and consonants you choose become the brush strokes painting your tomorrow. Near Louis's shop, a street performer named Maya prepared for her daily performance. Before singing, she would whisper words of gratitude. Thank you for the gift of voice. Thank you for those who will hear. Thank you for the abundance flowing through this melody. Her songs, infused with appreciation, drew crowds and coins as if by magic. The difference lay not in technique, but in the voltage of her words. Your voice box is a transformer. It either steps up or steps down the current of creation. Every complaint diminishes your field. Every blessing amplifies it. The choice of which power to generate rests in each moment of speech. Louis observed Maya's ritual one morning. The radiance of her gratitude-charged songs illuminated the truth he had missed. His words were seeds, and he had been planting thorns while wondering why roses wouldn't grow. Practice. The alchemy of speech. Throughout your day, transform reactive speech into blessing speech. When frustration rises, pause. Replace. This always goes wrong with, "This teaches me mastery." Instead of, "I can't afford it," declare, "Abundance flows to me in perfect timing." Rather than cursing traffic, bless each driver's journey. Your voice is your wand. Every word casts a spell. Every phrase programs the field. Wield this power with the precision of a master and watch as reality reshapes itself to match your highest speech. Chapter 9. The Mirror of Belief. In a small coastal village, Nora spent each morning scanning the horizon for storm clouds. Even on the brightest days, she insisted on carrying an umbrella, convinced that rain would eventually spoil her plans. Year after year, her predictions of misfortune cast shadows over moments that might have sparkled with possibility. The universe speaks in the language of belief. Your convictions are not mere thoughts floating in the mind. They are living frequencies that shape the matrix of creation. Like a crystal diffracting light, your beliefs split pure potential into the specific experiences you encounter. What you hold as truth becomes the foundation upon which all manifestation builds its home. Each belief vibrates at its own frequency. Those rooted in limitation echo the lower vibrations of fear, while beliefs aligned with abundance resonate at the higher frequencies of possibility. The law of attraction responds not to your wishes, but to the unwavering signal your beliefs transmit into the cosmic field. In the radiant heart of creation there exists no inherent obstacle, only the barriers projected by your own convictions. When you declare, "I cannot," the universe bows to your command, orchestrating circumstances that confirm your proclamation. Yet when you whisper, "I am," followed by any attribute you choose to embody, reality reshapes itself to mirror your certainty. In a sunlit studio across town from Nora lived an artist named Thomas. For months he labored over a canvas, frustrated by its apparent dullness. One evening, as the setting sun streamed through his window at an unusual angle, he gasped. There, beneath the different light, colors he had never noticed began to emerge. Deep purples within what he thought was merely brown, hints of gold in what seemed only beige. In that moment, he understood. His art had always held these depths. He simply hadn't believed in their existence enough to perceive them. This truth extends beyond painted canvas to the vast canvas of your life. What appears immutable is often simply viewed through the lens of aged beliefs. Shift the lens, and reality's true spectrum reveals itself. Ancient practice of belief transmutation. Find a quiet moment and take your journal. On one page, write a belief that has limited your expansion, one sentence that has echoed through your thoughts, perhaps for years. Now, on the facing page, craft its opposite, not as a hope, but as an existing truth. Stand before a mirror, first speaking the old belief aloud, noting how its frequency feels in your body. Then speak the new truth, allowing its higher vibration to resonate through your being. Let yourself dwell in the enhanced frequency of this new belief, knowing that as you align with its truth, the universe must respond in kind. Chapter 10. The Blueprint of Intention. In a bustling workshop filled with wood shavings and half-finished projects, Wallace worked with passionate intensity but little precision. His hands moved swiftly across timber and tools, driven by creative impulse rather than measured intent. Though his artistic vision burned bright, his finished pieces often wobbled or misaligned, beautiful in concept but unstable in form. The act of creation follows universal law. Thought precedes manifestation. Just as a master carpenter measures twice before cutting once, spiritual manifestation requires clear vision before action. Your thoughts are the invisible blueprints from which physical reality takes shape. When you build without planning, you invite uncertainty into your creation. The universe responds not to vague hopes, but to crystallized intention. Each desire must first exist as a complete image in consciousness before it can materialize in form. This is the sacred geometry of manifestation, the translation of ethereal design into tangible reality. Consider how a skilled architect approaches creation. Before the first stone is laid, every detail exists in perfect clarity on paper. The building rises first in mind, its foundation set in thought before matter arranges itself to match the vision. This is not mere planning, it is spiritual law in action. In the quiet district of artisans, an architect named Samuel spent hours crafting detailed drawings of structures yet to be born. His colleagues marveled at how his buildings seemed to rise effortlessly from ground to sky, as if they had always existed there. "The building is already complete," he would say, pointing to his heart. "We simply make visible what already is." The physical world operates as a mirror, reflecting the precision, or lack thereof, of your mental blueprints. When intention lacks clarity, manifestation appears distorted. But when vision is exact, reality aligns with supernatural precision. The ancient practice of sacred architecture. As the sun rises each morning, find a space of silence. In this sacred moment, state your primary intention for creation with exact clarity, as precise as an architect's drawing, as measured as a carpenter's cut. Speak it once, with the calm certainty of one who knows the structure already stands complete in the invisible realm. Then, move through your day embodying this certainty, allowing your actions to flow from the knowing that what you have declared is already built in spirit. Your role now is simply to witness its emergence into form, each moment a revelation of what was already crafted in the temple of your consciousness. Part 2. The Ascension of Awareness. Chapter 11. The Law of Polarity. In the quiet village of Millbrook, Daisy's life seemed divided into stark extremes. Each blessing appeared shadowed by misfortune, every joy countered by sorrow. Her garden would bloom abundantly, only to be struck by frost. Her business would flourish, then face unexpected setbacks. "I must be cursed," she would whisper, watching how life swung between opposing forces. One morning, as Daisy sat beneath an ancient oak tree, a wise woman named Agnes passed by. Noting Daisy's troubled expression, Agnes shared an ageless truth. The universe speaks through pairs of opposites. Each shadow points to light. Each void calls forth substance. This revelation unfolds a deeper understanding. Opposition is not a curse, but the very mechanism through which creation expresses itself. Just as a pendulum's backward swing generates forward momentum, every challenge carries within it the seed of its solution. The universe maintains perfect equilibrium through the dance of opposites. Like the breath that must flow out before flowing in, like the tide that must ebb before it floods, all of life moves in this sacred rhythm. When you resist one extreme, you inadvertently resist its counterpart. By embracing both sides of any experience, you align with the natural order of manifestation. Walking home one evening, Daisy paused to watch the sun setting. As darkness gradually claimed the sky, she noticed how the fading light made the first stars visible. Neither day nor night existed in isolation. Each state gracefully yielded to the other. In this moment, she understood that what she had perceived as misfortune was simply the universe's way of preparing space for new blessings. This principle of balanced opposition governs all creation. Winter's dormancy enables spring's renewal. The archer must draw back the bow to propel the arrow forward. What appears as lack creates the conditions for abundance. What manifests as loss opens the path for gain. High in the mountains dwelled a potter named Chen. Each day he would take formless clay and press it between his hands, embracing both pressure and release. "The vessel," he would say, "emerges from the space between opposing forces." His bowls and cups stood as testament to this truth, their utility born from the perfect balance of solid and void. Daisy began to see how her own life reflected this ancient wisdom. Rather than feeling cursed by contrast, she recognized these opposing forces as the very energy that propelled her growth. Each challenge now appeared as an invitation to discover its corresponding gift. When faced with difficulty, pause and remember. The universe maintains perfect balance. Every problem contains its solution. Every question holds its answer. Every ending seeds a new beginning. The key lies not in resisting what is, but in recognizing the wholeness that encompasses all apparent opposites. Practice. When struggle rises, silently affirm, its solution already exists. Witness transformation through recognition of dual unity. Chapter 12. The Force of Gratitude. In a time when prosperity seemed abundant, Ernest oversaw a thriving department at a prestigious firm. Each morning he strode through gleaming corridors, certain of his position, until the day everything changed. The company merged, his role vanished, and security transformed into uncertainty. Yet in that moment of loss, Ernest made an unusual choice. Instead of surrendering to despair, he began writing lists of gratitude. Each morning before sunrise, he documented simple blessings: the warmth of sunlight, the taste of morning tea, the sound of distant birds. What began as a practice to maintain sanity revealed itself as an ancient wisdom, the art of frequency alignment through appreciation. When you attune yourself to gratitude, You activate the highest vibrational state available to human consciousness. This frequency acts as a stabilizer, harmonizing the neural pathways of your brain with the cosmic currents of creation. The universe operates through resonance, like attracts, like across all dimensions of existence. Gratitude becomes the master key that unlocks abundance because it places you in energetic alignment with the natural flow of prosperity. As Ernest continued his practice, something extraordinary unfolded. Small opportunities began appearing. A chance conversation, an unexpected referral, a forgotten connection renewed. The flow of abundance had never ceased. His gratitude simply allowed him to enter its stream once again. One morning, while writing his daily list, Ernest noticed birds gathering outside his window. Acting on pure instinct, he began leaving seeds for them. This simple act of giving became his most profound teacher. The birds arrived each dawn, their songs a reminder that nature's abundance flows ceaselessly. In feeding them with appreciation, Ernest discovered that gratitude is not merely a response to receiving. It is the very consciousness that attracts prosperity. Watch now how this truth manifests in your own existence. As you breathe in, whisper thanks to the infinite source of all creation. As you exhale, release attachment to specific outcomes with release. This rhythm of gratitude and surrender creates a complete circuit of abundance consciousness. The inhalation of appreciation draws prosperity toward you. The exhalation of release creates space for its manifestation. What appears as loss often conceals a gateway to greater abundance. The key lies not in fighting against change, but in maintaining the high frequency of gratitude regardless of external circumstances. In this elevated state, you become a natural attractor for prosperity in all its forms. Ancient practice. Each time you inhale, think thanks. Each time you exhale, think release. Both motions complete the loop of abundance. Chapter 13. The Illusion of Separation. Martha stood at her window each morning, gazing at the distant horizon, feeling an insurmountable gap between herself and divine assistance. Her prayers seemed to echo into emptiness, as though bouncing off an invisible barrier between earth and heaven. She yearned for connection, yet felt perpetually separate from the source of all blessings. In her solitude, Martha unknowingly touched upon one of existence's deepest mysteries. The very feeling of separation reveals the first glimpse of truth. For how can you feel distant from something unless you already contain awareness of its presence? Your consciousness of divine connection, even in its apparent absence, points to an eternal truth. Separation is impossible within the infinite. The universe does not operate through division, but through degrees of recognition. When you perceive yourself as isolated from divine power, you experience the illusion of duality, the mistaken belief that creator and creation exist apart from one another. This perception dims your natural radiance, like clouds momentarily obscuring the sun. Yet the sun never ceases to shine, just as your connection to Source never truly breaks. One rainy afternoon, Martha watched droplets sliding down her window pane. Each drop appeared distinct, traveling its solitary path until reaching the windowsill. There, they merged effortlessly, individual boundaries dissolving into a single flowing stream. In that simple observation, wisdom awakened within her heart. Every droplet had always been water, temporarily wearing the shape of separation before remembering its true nature. Like those raindrops, your consciousness only appears separate from the divine ocean of awareness. The boundary between your individual self and universal intelligence is as temporary as the surface tension holding a raindrop together. In reality, you exist as a unique expression of the infinite, neither divided from it nor absorbed by it, but in perfect unity with all that is. This understanding transforms prayer from desperate reaching to peaceful recognition. You need not send your desires outward into space, hoping they reach a distant deity. Instead, allow your awareness to expand inward, discovering the divine presence that has always existed at the core of your being. This shift in perception, from separation to unity, dissolves the illusion of isolation and restores your natural state of communion with universal intelligence. Ancient practice. Whisper softly, "I am within the all is within me." This confession unlocks the heart's gate to divine partnership. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Ladder of Frequency. In a small mountain village, Raymond spent his days crafting wooden toys, his creations reflecting his internal state with uncanny precision. When joy filled his heart, his hands carved masterpieces that brought delight to children. Yet in moments of despair, his works emerged crude and lifeless, unwanted by merchants and customers alike. The universe operates through precise vibrational frequencies, each resonating at its own distinct level. Like notes on a musical scale, emotions arrange themselves in ascending order, from the deep bass notes of despair to the soaring crescendo of pure bliss. Your dominant emotional frequency becomes your magnetic signature, drawing experiences that match its precise pitch. This ancient wisdom reveals why similar circumstances repeatedly manifest in your life. Each emotional state broadcasts a specific signal into the quantum field, attracting corresponding realities with mathematical precision. Apathy draws stagnation, anger attracts conflict, while peace magnetizes harmony. In a neighboring valley lived Sophia, a violinist whose art taught this principle through sound. Before each performance, she would methodically tune her instrument, moving from lower to higher frequencies. "The string must first acknowledge where it is," she would say, "before it can rise to where it belongs." Through patient adjustment, she demonstrated how conscious calibration precedes masterful expression. Just as Sophia wouldn't perform with an untuned violin, you need not act from an untuned emotional state. Your feelings are the strings upon which the universe plays its symphony. When you resonate at higher frequencies, appreciation, enthusiasm, joy, you naturally attract experiences that match this elevated vibration. The law operates with unfailing accuracy. Each emotional frequency corresponds to a specific tier of experience. Lower vibrations manifest as struggle and limitation, while higher ones attract abundance and grace. This isn't punishment or reward, but simply the mechanics of creation responding to your energetic signature. Raymond discovered this truth one autumn morning. Instead of beginning work in his usual worried state, he deliberately shifted his mood through gentle appreciation. As his inner tone lifted, his hands moved with newfound grace, and his creations that day sold before sunset. Ancient practice. The vibrational ascent. Before making any decision or taking any action, pause and observe your emotional frequency. Like a musician checking their pitch, notice where your inner tone currently resonates. If you sense heaviness or discord, gently tune upward through appreciation or peaceful thoughts. Only proceed when you feel your vibration has elevated to match your desired outcome. This conscious calibration ensures your actions spring from higher ground, magnetizing superior possibilities. Chapter 15. The Field of Coherence. In a small village among ancient hills lived Beulah, whose household seemed perpetually entangled in discord. Arguments erupted like sudden storms, and peace felt as distant as stars. Each family member moved to their own rhythm, creating a cacophony of clashing frequencies. One evening, when tension had reached its peak, Beulah's grandmother gathered the family in a circle. "Let us join in prayer," she whispered, her voice carrying the wisdom of generations. As they linked hands, something extraordinary unfolded. Their breathing synchronized, their hearts beat as one, and a palpable harmony descended upon the room. From that moment, their home transformed. Decisions flowed effortlessly. Understanding bloomed like spring flowers, and abundance followed naturally. This truth echoes through the ages. Coherence holds the power to reorganize reality. When thoughts and emotions align in perfect harmony, they generate a force field of order that extends far beyond the individual. Like instruments in an orchestra, playing in perfect unity, coherent energy creates a symphony that the universe cannot help but dance to. The mechanics of coherence operate through precise universal law. When heart and mind synchronize their frequencies, they establish a clear channel through which divine intelligence flows unimpeded. This alignment creates a magnetic field so powerful it can influence matter itself, reorganizing chaos into order, discord into harmony. One summer evening, Beulah walked along the river's edge. There she witnessed thousands of fireflies emerging at dusk. At first they blinked randomly, each to its own timing, but gradually, mysteriously, their lights began to pulse in unison, a spectacular demonstration of nature's tendency toward coherence. Each tiny spark joined the greater rhythm until the entire riverside glowed with synchronized light. In this natural phenomenon lies a reflection of humanity's highest potential. When individuals align their energy through shared intention and harmonious emotion, they create a field of coherence that transforms not only their immediate reality, but ripples outward to touch all of creation. Ancient practice of the heart-mind union. Find a quiet space and settle into stillness. Place your hand over your heart and attune to its steady rhythm. Allow your breath to flow in harmony with each beat. As you breathe, envision your thoughts and emotions moving in perfect synchronicity, like dancers in a sacred performance. Continue until you sense an internal music, a harmonious pulse that feels like your entire being is humming in unity. This is the frequency of coherence, the vibration through which miracles manifest with ease. Chapter 16. The Shadow Integration. In the bustling marketplace, Victor smiled and offered kind words to everyone he met, yet beneath his cheerful facade, jealousy gnawed at his heart. Each time he witnessed others' success, a darkness stirred within him. Rather than acknowledge these feelings, he buried them deeper, plastering an even brighter smile across his face. "All is light," he would declare, forcing positivity while the shadows within grew denser. Yet the universe operates through wholeness, not fragmentation. What you resist inevitably persists, gaining strength in the darkness of denial. When emotions are pushed into shadow, they do not disappear. They multiply. Like a plant deprived of sunlight that grows pale and twisted, suppressed feelings distort into more potent forms. True mastery comes not from rejecting parts of yourself, but from embracing the fullness of your being. The law of wholeness teaches that light and shadow are not enemies, but dance partners in the grand ballroom of consciousness. Every emotion serves as a messenger, carrying wisdom when welcomed with awareness. Even those feelings deemed negative contain seeds of transformation when acknowledged with grace. One afternoon, Victor wandered into an artist's studio. The painter worked on a landscape, and Victor watched in fascination as she added deep black paint to areas representing brilliant sunlight. "Without shadow," she explained, noticing his puzzled expression. "The light has no depth, no dimension. These dark strokes make the sunshine real." In that moment, something shifted in Victor's understanding. He realized his forced positivity had been casting the deepest shadows of all. The jealousy he had tried so hard to hide was not his enemy, but a teacher waiting to be heard. Just as the artist used shadow to enhance light, your challenging emotions exist to deepen your wisdom. When you welcome what you've been avoiding, its power to disturb you dissolves into insight. The very act of acceptance transforms the energy of emotion from adversary to ally. Sacred practice of integration. The next time a difficult emotion arises, be it jealousy, anger, or fear, pause and turn toward it with gratitude. Place your hand on your heart and whisper, "Thank you for this teaching." Feel the emotion fully, neither grasping nor pushing away. Notice how acceptance itself begins to transmute the energy, revealing the wisdom hidden within the shadow. This simple practice initiates the alchemy of integration, where no part of your experience remains rejected or denied. Chapter 17. The Circuit of Karma. In a valley renowned for its merchants, Annabelle wielded her charisma like a sword. Her silver tongue convinced others to act against their better judgment, manipulating situations to serve her interests alone. With each small victory, her influence grew. Yet so did an unseen imbalance in the fabric of her existence. When deals began to crumble and former allies turned away, Annabelle blamed misfortune rather than recognizing the echo of her own actions. The universe operates through perfect equilibrium, not as punishment, but as loving guidance back to harmony. What many mistake for karma is simply the natural rhythm of cause and effect, teaching through experience rather than judgment. Every action generates a corresponding vibration that must return to its source. This is not fate's revenge, but the universe's way of showing you your own power. The law of influence reveals that every thought, word, and deed carries a frequency that ripples through the quantum field, eventually returning to its creator. This sacred principle serves as a compass, not a curse. In the fertile fields beyond the valley lived a farmer who planted bitter herbs, expecting sweet fruit to grow. Season after season, his harvest reflected exactly what he had sown. Initially, he blamed the soil, the weather, even his neighbors. Until one spring morning, understanding dawned. His crop was merely mirroring his choice of seeds. Like the farmer, Annabel began to see how her harvest of difficulty sprouted from seeds of manipulation. This recognition marked the beginning of her transformation. The same power that had created discord could be redirected to generate harmony. You possess this same creative force. Every moment offers a choice. Will your influence lift others up or pull them down? Will your words plant seeds of truth or deception? The universe responds not to your intentions, but to the actual vibration of your impact. The law of influence operates with mathematical precision, yet its purpose is not to punish, but to perfect. When you understand this, fear dissolves into appreciation for this divine feedback system. Every consequence becomes a teacher, every challenge an invitation to realign with truth. Sacred practice. Begin each day by speaking these words with full presence. Only loving causes move through me. Feel these words resonate in your chest as you voice them. This declaration is not merely positive thinking. It is a conscious rewiring of your influential field, aligning your entire being with the highest frequency of creative power. Through this practice, you activate the law of benevolent influence, where your impact naturally uplifts all it touches. Chapter 18. The Language of Symbols. Through ages untold, symbols have whispered secrets to those who understand their sacred language. In a small coastal town, George, a merchant who had lost his spirit for adventure, found himself visited nightly by the same dream. A majestic lion, its mane gleaming like spun gold, stood guard before a chest radiating light. Night after night, the vision returned, yet George turned away in fear, awakening in cold sweat. The universe speaks in the language of symbols, for they carry frequencies beyond the limitations of words. Every image that persists in your consciousness arrives as an emissary from the infinite, bearing wisdom, tailored precisely to your journey. Within the vast field of universal consciousness, archetypes serve as bridges between your mortal understanding and timeless truth. The lion represents not merely courage, but your own dormant sovereignty. The treasure it guards is not gold, but the wealth of your authentic power. George finally understood this truth when he ceased fleeing and faced the lion in his dream. As he met its gaze, the beast bowed, revealing that it was not an adversary, but an aspect of his own noble nature. The treasure chest opened, flooding his being with forgotten confidence. Upon waking, George discovered his fear of expansion had dissolved, replaced by a magnetic certainty that drew new opportunities effortlessly. This dialogue between your conscious mind and the universal intelligence never ceases. It speaks through recurring symbols, meaningful coincidences, and persistent images that catch your attention. A butterfly that follows you may carry messages of transformation. A key appearing in various forms might signal unlocking potential. In a village far from George's town, an old wise woman taught her apprentices to create personal maps using symbols that spoke to their souls. One drew spirals for growth, another sketched bridges for transition. As they worked with these personal hieroglyphs, their intentions manifested with surprising precision. Their symbols became channels through which universal power flowed. The language of symbols transcends culture, time, and space, because it resonates with the deepest chambers of human consciousness. When you learn to read these messages, you access a direct line to cosmic intelligence. Practice. When a repeated image visits you, whether in dreams, meditation, or daily life, pause and acknowledge its presence. Take a moment to sketch it, even if your artistic skill seems limited. The act of drawing connects you more deeply to its essence. Sit quietly with your drawing and ask your heart, not your mind, what message it carries. Let the answer rise naturally, like a bubble ascending through still water. This practice transforms mysterious symbols into tools of power, converting the universal language into personal revelation. Chapter 19. The Silence of Knowing. In a bustling village market, Sadie moved between stalls like a hummingbird, filling every moment with endless words. Her voice darted and wove through conversations, leaving no space unfilled. Though surrounded by people, she remained disconnected from the whispers of her own soul. The eternal wisdom flows not through noise, but through silence. Within the sacred void between thoughts, divine intelligence awaits your attention. Each quiet moment opens a gateway through which cosmic guidance flows, yet so few pause long enough to receive it. You see, the universe speaks in whispers, not shouts. Its voice emerges in the spaces between breaths, in the pause between heartbeats, in the stillness before dawn. When you fill every moment with external noise, you create static that drowns out this subtle frequency. One winter morning, as snowflakes descended in perfect silence, Sadie finally understood. Standing beneath the gentle cascade, she witnessed how nature's most exquisite work required no announcement. Each crystalline miracle formed and fell in complete quiet, yet carried immense power in its silent descent. The sight awakened something within her. For the first time, she allowed silence to embrace her. In that moment, she felt the presence of a vast intelligence that had always been there, waiting patiently beneath the surface of her constant chatter. Just as snowflakes require stillness to form their intricate patterns, your intuition needs quiet to crystallize its wisdom. When you cease filling every space with noise, you discover that silence is not empty. It is rich with divine conversation. A wandering monk once demonstrated this truth by leading a group of villagers to a still pond at midnight. "Look at how perfectly the moon reflects on untroubled waters," he observed. "So too does wisdom reflect in an untroubled mind." The moment someone threw a stone, creating ripples, the moon's reflection shattered into 1,000 pieces. Like that still pond, your consciousness becomes a perfect mirror for divine guidance when allowed to settle into silence. The universe requires no words to convey its messages, only your willingness to be still and receive. Practice. Each day, find 5 minutes to sit in complete stillness. Close your eyes and allow your thoughts to settle like snow. Beneath the surface noise of the mind, there exists a gentle humming, a vibration of pure being. This is not emptiness, but the sound of Source itself speaking through the silence. Simply rest in this sacred frequency, allowing it to attune your entire being to its wisdom. In time, you will recognize this hum as the eternal conversation between your soul and the infinite. Chapter 20. The Flame of Will. In a small village among ancient hills, Henry wandered through his days like a leaf carried by the wind. Each morning brought new directions, yet no true purpose guided his path. His talents lay dormant, his dreams scattered like seeds on barren soil. Through time immemorial, those who have shaped destiny understood a fundamental truth. Willpower stands as the sacred flame of creation. This force, when properly directed, transforms mere thoughts into living reality. Yet willpower without wisdom burns wildly, consuming rather than creating. The marriage of these two forces, divine will and sacred wisdom, opens the gates to mastery. Within you burns this same sacred fire. It awaits only your conscious direction, your unwavering focus, to manifest your deepest intentions. This power does not require external permission or validation. It flows naturally when aligned with universal law. Near the village square stood an old blacksmith's forge. Here, Henry often paused to watch the craftsmen at work. The blacksmith's every movement spoke of focused intention, each strike of his hammer deliberate, each pause measured. The glowing metal yielded not to force alone, but to the harmony of strength and timing. One morning, as Henry observed the blacksmith shaping a blade, understanding dawned like the first rays of sun through morning mist. The craftsman's eyes held neither doubt nor hesitation. Each blow of his hammer carried the certainty of purpose, transforming raw metal into refined creation. In that moment, Henry recognized the same potential within himself, the power to shape reality through focused will. The universe responds not to wishful thinking, but to directed power. Just as the blacksmith channels heat and force to transform metal, you must direct your inner fire with unwavering purpose. Your thoughts, energized by sacred will, become the hammer that shapes the raw material of potential into manifested reality. Practice. As the sun rises each morning, stand facing the east. Feel the awakening light mirror the sacred fire within. With clear voice and absolute conviction, declare your day's highest intention. Speak it not as hope or wish, but as command, a declaration carrying the full force of your divine will. Let each word resonate with the power of absolute knowing. This practice aligns cosmic force with personal will, transforming thought into destiny. Remember, will without wisdom scatters power. Wisdom without will remains dormant. Unite these forces within, and watch as your reality transforms through the alchemy of directed consciousness. Part 3. The Embodiment of Mastery. Chapter 21. The Law of One Vibration. In a remote village among ancient hills lived a wise woman named Elsie. Each morning she would venture to the edge of a crystalline lake where creatures gathered at dawn. At first she saw only separation, birds soaring above, fish swimming below, insects dancing between. Yet, as she sat in quiet observation day after day, something extraordinary began to unfold. One particular morning, as golden light spilled across the water, Elsie noticed a subtle vibration running through all living things. The wingspan of eagles matched the rhythm of rippling waves. The heartbeat of deer synchronized with pulsing dragonfly wings. In that moment, she realized every being shared one vast spectrum of consciousness. This revelation unveils a fundamental truth of existence. Consciousness flows as one current through all creation. What appears as separation is merely different expressions of the same divine force. Like notes in a cosmic symphony, each being contributes its unique tone to the universal chorus. When you ascend to higher states of awareness, you begin to feel this unified field. Your influence naturally becomes more refined, for you recognize that affecting one part touches the whole. This is why masters move with such grace. They feel the ripples of their every thought and action through the web of life. In a village temple, Elsie later joined in evening chanting. As voices merged into a single resonant tone, she experienced this principle directly. Individual sounds dissolved into pure vibration, demonstrating how separate frequencies naturally harmonize into unity. This same phenomenon occurs in consciousness. When we raise our vibration, we automatically lift those around us. The higher your awareness rises, the more you perceive this interweaving of all life. Plants, animals, humans, and stars pulse with one cosmic heartbeat. Even stones and soil participate in this dance of consciousness, though their rhythm moves at a different pace. You need not grasp this truth intellectually. Your own being already knows it, for you are made of the same substance as stars and souls. Each breath draws from the same ocean of awareness that fills all creation. Practice. Find a quiet space and place your hand upon your heart. Feel each beat as the universal drum of existence. Let your breathing fall into rhythm with this pulse. As you settle into the sensation, recognize that this same force moves through all beings. With every beat, silently repeat the cosmic affirmation, "We are." This simple practice aligns you with the one consciousness expressing through infinite forms. Chapter 22. The Master Key of Vision. In a bustling marketplace, Caleb wandered between stalls, touching everything yet purchasing nothing. His eyes darted from trinket to trinket, each new item momentarily captivating his attention before another drew him away. As the sun set, he returned home empty-handed, his initial intention to find a meaningful gift forgotten in the haze of endless possibilities. The universe responds to precision, not possibility. When your vision splinters into 1,000 directions, the cosmic forces cannot align with clarity. Like light through a prism, scattered intentions fragment power into weak rays, while focused intention burns through resistance like a magnifying glass concentrating sunlight. Your thoughts generate specific frequencies. These frequencies must achieve perfect pitch to resonate with universal law. When you entertain multiple conflicting desires, you create interference patterns that cancel each other out. The result is spiritual static, a noise that drowns the clear signal of manifestation. Think of the master archer who sees only the target's center, not its edges. In that moment of singular focus, arrow and aim become one unified force. This same principle governs all creation. The universe does not respond to wishes wrapped in maybe, or somewhat, or perhaps. It answers only the clarion call of crystalline certainty. A second tale illuminates this truth further. In an ancient observatory, an astronomer struggled to map the stars through clouded lenses. Night after night, his recordings proved inaccurate until he learned to clean each lens with meticulous care. Only then did the heavens reveal their true positions. So too must you polish the lens of your consciousness, removing the smudges of doubt and the dust of distraction. Your mind is this cosmic observatory. Through it, you perceive and project reality. When your mental lens maintains razor-sharp focus, the universe's response mirrors this clarity. But when your lens clouds with conflicting thoughts or fuzzy intentions, creation's reply becomes equally diffuse. The practice. As you lay beneath the night sky, draw 3 conscious breaths. With each inhale, let your desired reality crystallize in perfect detail. See it, feel it, know it with unwavering certainty. Hold this vision with the precision of a master jeweler examining a precious stone. Then, on your final exhale, release it to the stars, trusting that clarity commands creation. This release marks not surrender, but supreme confidence, the kind that needs no repetition or reassurance. You have transmitted your frequency with perfect pitch. Now the universe can respond in kind. Chapter 23. The Quantum Bridge. In a bustling marketplace, Lydia stood transfixed as a wave of anxiety gripped her chest. The moment she noticed her racing heart, something remarkable occurred. By consciously shifting her thoughts to peace, the physical sensation transformed instantly. Her heartbeat steadied, her breathing deepened, and warmth spread through her body. This seemingly simple experience opens a gateway to one of the universe's most potent truths. Consciousness serves as the master key, connecting all realms of existence. Your thoughts and emotions do not merely influence your reality. They are the very bridge between the quantum and physical worlds. Within the infinite field of possibility, every particle exists simultaneously as both matter and wave until consciousness intervenes. Through your awareness, you collapse infinite potential into specific experience. This is not metaphor, but mechanics. The same principle quantum physicists observe in their laboratories plays out in every moment of your life. Your emotional state creates immediate physiological changes because emotion itself is the language of this quantum connection. When you shift your feeling state, you literally alter the electromagnetic field of your body, which in turn affects every cell and atom in your vicinity. In a village among ancient hills, 2 violin makers practiced their craft. The first violin sat alone in its case, perfectly carved yet silent. The second violin, tuned to precise frequency, began to play. Remarkably, the strings of the untouched first violin began to vibrate in harmony, a phenomenon known as sympathetic resonance. No physical connection existed between the instruments, yet they danced together through invisible waves of energy. This simple demonstration reveals a profound truth about your creative power. Just as one violin can cause another to vibrate without physical contact, your consciousness broadcasts frequencies that influence the material world around you. Every thought, every emotion sends ripples through the quantum field, attracting or repelling possibilities based on their resonant frequency. The violin makers discovered that this connection wasn't random. It required precise tuning. Similarly, your ability to manifest depends on maintaining clear, coherent vibration. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions align at the same frequency, you become a powerful transmitter of creative force. To harness this principle in your daily life, practice this ancient technique. Sit quietly and bring your awareness to your breath. As you inhale, feel your consciousness expanding outward into the quantum field of all possibility. As you exhale, sense that field condensing into physical form through your focused awareness. Continue this rhythm for several minutes, knowing that with each breath cycle, you strengthen your role as conscious bridge between worlds. Through this practice, you become both the violin and the musician, the instrument through which universal intelligence plays its endless song of creation. Chapter 24. The Council of Higher Self. In the heart of an ancient city, Franklin wandered from temple to temple, seeking wisdom from those he deemed enlightened. His quest led him through crowded marketplaces and quiet monasteries, each step driven by the belief that truth lay in the words of others. For years, he collected teachings like precious gems, storing them carefully in journals that lined his shelves. Yet the more knowledge he accumulated, the more hollow his understanding felt. One evening, exhausted from his endless search, Franklin sat beneath a cypress tree. As twilight descended, a soft breeze stirred the leaves above, creating a whispered symphony that seemed to speak directly to his soul. Within each of us dwells an intelligence far greater than any external source could provide. This wisdom flows not from books or teachers, but from the infinite well of universal consciousness that permeates all existence. Like a radio receiver perpetually tuned to divine broadcast, your inner self maintains constant communion with cosmic intelligence. The voice of guidance speaks not through thunderous proclamation, but through subtle impression. It manifests as the quiet knowing that precedes thought, the gentle nudge that precedes action, the soft certainty that precedes decision. This voice requires no intermediary, no interpreter, no validation from outside authority. When you align with this inner frequency, external seeking ceases. The endless quest for confirmation transforms into a dance of divine partnership. Each breath becomes a conversation with the infinite, each heartbeat a reminder of your connection to source wisdom. In a small garden near his home, Franklin discovered this truth unexpectedly during his morning meditation. As his thoughts settled into silence, he heard not an external voice, but his own, yet somehow deeper, clearer, more connected to universal truth. In that moment, he realized that what he sought had never been separate from his own being. This revelation mirrors an ancient understanding. The teacher you seek resides within. External guides may point the way, but the final steps of the journey must be walked in communion with your own divine nature. The master key turns not in another's lock, but in the sacred chamber of your own heart. Practice. Each morning, find a quiet moment and ask inwardly, "Higher Self, direct my next step." Then pause, breathe, and await the first gentle impulse that arises. Trust this subtle guidance and act upon it without hesitation. Through this simple practice, you strengthen the bridge between your conscious mind and the infinite intelligence that flows through you. Chapter 25. The Law of Acceleration. Long ago, in a valley crowned with ancient pines, lived a weaver named Gretel. Each morning she sat at her loom, dreaming of creating tapestries that would adorn palace walls. Yet her threads tangled and her patterns remained simple, for within her heart dwelled two opposing forces: desire for greatness and fear of failure. Through the passing seasons, Gretel noticed something peculiar. On days when her mind and heart aligned in perfect certainty, her weaving flowed with supernatural grace. The threads seemed to dance beneath her fingers, creating patterns more beautiful than any she had consciously planned. But when doubt crept in, even the simplest designs would unravel. The universe speaks through such moments of clarity, revealing the sacred law of unified consciousness. When your thoughts and feelings move as one force, manifestation accelerates beyond ordinary measure. Like water flowing unimpeded, creation requires no effort when internal resistance dissolves. Every thought carries creative power, Yet this power multiplies exponentially when no conflicting energies exist within. Picture 2 mighty horses yoked to a cart. If one pulls east while the other strains west, the cart remains stationary despite their combined strength. But when both horses pull in harmony, their power doesn't merely add, it multiplies. This truth revealed itself again through nature's wisdom as a great river curved through the valley near Gretel's home. Where the water encountered bends and obstacles, it slowed and swirled, creating turbulent eddies. Yet in places where the riverbed ran straight and clear, the same water moved with swift, effortless grace. So too does your creative force flow when inner conflicts resolve into harmony. Just as Gretel discovered that her finest works emerged when doubt no longer battled with desire, you too will witness acceleration in manifestation when belief stands unified. Every perceived delay in receiving your good points, not to external obstacles, but to internal division requiring integration. The practice. When your desires seem slow to materialize, pause and turn within. Close your eyes and scan your inner landscape for contradicting beliefs or emotions. Breathe deeply into any resistance you discover. Feel your mind and heart merging into single purpose, like two streams joining to form one powerful river. As harmony establishes itself, watch how your manifestations begin flowing with newfound speed and grace. Chapter 26. The Crown of Light. In the quiet mountains of a distant village, Samuel endured splitting headaches that no medicine could cure. Each morning brought renewed pain, like a crown of thorns pressed against his temples. Healers offered remedies, yet relief remained elusive until an ancient manuscript crossed his path. Within its weathered chapters lay a forgotten truth. The crown chakra, that sacred point where human consciousness meets divine wisdom. The manuscript spoke of a practice, imagining a beam of celestial light descending upon the crown of the head. Samuel, desperate for relief, began this visualization each dawn. As days passed, his pain transformed into a gentle tingling, then into waves of clarity. The headaches that once imprisoned him dissolved into pure awareness. Through this transformation, a profound teaching emerges. The crown of illumination represents your natural state of connection to infinite intelligence. Pain often signals misalignment from this highest truth. When you restore this connection, suffering transmutes into enlightenment. This sacred point atop your head serves as an antenna, receiving cosmic frequencies that the logical mind alone cannot grasp. Just as a radio must be perfectly tuned to receive clear transmission, your crown consciousness requires proper alignment. This alignment occurs naturally when you acknowledge your oneness with universal mind. The crown is not merely a metaphysical concept, it is a living gateway through which divine wisdom flows continuously. Walking at daybreak, Samuel witnessed dewdrops scattered across a meadow. As the rising sun touched each drop, they transformed into prisms of pure light. This simple scene revealed a deeper truth. Divinity touches all things equally, waiting only for proper alignment to shine through. Each dew drop, like every human consciousness, holds the potential to reflect infinite light. The crown of illumination is not something to be achieved. It is your natural state to be remembered. When acknowledged, This remembrance dissolves the illusion of separation between human awareness and cosmic intelligence. The pain that initially led Samuel to this discovery served as a messenger, guiding him back to this forgotten connection. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space and sit with your spine straight. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Envision a column of pure golden light descending from infinite height, touching the crown of your head. Feel this light penetrating your skull, flowing down your spine like liquid sunshine. With each breath, allow this light to expand, filling your entire being. Maintain this visualization for several minutes, knowing you align with infinite intelligence through this simple yet powerful practice. Chapter 27. The Architecture of Destiny. In a bustling town square, Vera stood watching skilled craftsmen restore an ancient cathedral. Each day she observed their meticulous work, noting how every decision, from the smallest chisel mark to the grandest arch placement, contributed to the magnificent whole. As she reflected on her own life's path, a pattern began to emerge through the seemingly random choices she had made. The universe speaks through the language of patterns. Each choice you make carves a unique signature into the fabric of existence. These choices, like the mason's careful cuts, accumulate to form the cathedral of your life. What appears as chance reveals itself as conscious design when viewed from higher awareness. Your free will serves as the architect's pencil, sketching the blueprint of possibility. Each thought, decision, and action shapes the living structure of your reality. The divine plan unfolds not through predetermined fate, but through your moment-by-moment choices that align with universal law. Near the cathedral, an old mason worked steadily, transforming rough stone into flowing forms. His weathered hands moved with certainty, guided by inner vision. "Every mark matters," he shared, "for the stone remembers everything." His words carried deeper wisdom. Each choice leaves an indelible impression on the architecture of your destiny. The master design reveals itself through patient observation. Like a cathedral rising stone by stone, your life's purpose assembles through conscious participation. You are not bound by fate, but empowered by choice. Every decision either aligns with or deviates from your soul's original blueprint. The mason's dedication mirrored an eternal truth. Creation requires both vision and persistence. As he carved, each strike of his chisel served the greater design. Similarly, your choices accumulate to manifest your highest potential. The future is not fixed, but flows from the wellspring of present awareness. Ancient practice. Before surrendering to sleep each night, sit in quietude and consciously design your tomorrow. See each intended action with crystal clarity. Feel the emotions you wish to experience. Hear the words you plan to speak. Shape your coming day as a master architect drafts their vision. Hold this design in your heart as you drift into dreams, knowing that night's rest transforms blueprint into reality. Through this practice, you claim your power as conscious creator of your unfolding story. Chapter 28. The Infinite Spiral. In ancient times, a merchant named Irving dwelled in constant dread of conclusions. Each setting sun brought him sorrow. Each completed transaction filled him with melancholy, and every farewell left him hollow. His fear of endings consumed his joy in beginnings, until one day he encountered a wise woman tracing circles in the sand. The truth lies not in linear paths, but in the eternal spiral of existence. What appears to end merely transforms into a new beginning, ascending to higher expressions of itself. Like water flowing in nature, consciousness moves not in straight lines, but in magnificent spirals, each turn expanding outward while maintaining its center. Your journey through life mirrors this sacred geometry. Each experience you perceive as an ending actually marks a point on an ever-widening spiral of growth. When you resist conclusions, you fight against the very force that lifts you higher. The spiral teaches that growth requires both completion and renewal, a continuous dance of transformation. In a distant marketplace, a young artisan crafted pottery with shells embedded in clay. As she worked, she discovered a broken nautilus shell, its chambers expanding in perfect mathematical sequence. Within its form lay the secret of eternal growth, each chamber larger than the last, yet maintaining the same divine proportion. The shell had not ended its journey. It had simply grown too vast for its previous home. This wisdom transforms how you view the chapters of your life. What seems like an ending from below appears as expansion from above. The spiral pattern exists in galaxies and flowers, hurricanes and DNA, nature's testimony that evolution moves in cycles of ascending awareness. One afternoon, the merchant found himself studying a nautilus shell in his collection. For the first time, he saw not death in its empty chambers, but the beauty of growth. Each chamber had served its purpose perfectly, then yielded to greater expansion. In that moment, his fear dissolved into understanding. There are no true endings, only spiral points of transformation. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Envision a luminous spiral beginning at your heart, glowing with golden light. As you breathe deeply, watch this spiral expand clockwise with each breath, growing larger and rising higher. Feel yourself ascending with it, carried upward by its natural movement. Your consciousness expands with the spiral, yet remains perfectly centered in peace. Let this image remind you that all change serves your eternal expansion. Chapter 29. The Throne of Still Power. In the bustling heart of a prosperous kingdom, Eleanor sought to bend circumstances to her will through sheer force. Each morning, she would rise before dawn, crafting elaborate plans and issuing stern commands. Believing control came through constant action and rigid authority. Yet the more she grasped, the more life seemed to slip through her fingers like water. The universe speaks through stillness. True power flows not from forceful intervention, but from unshakable presence. When you release the need to manipulate every moment, you tap into a deeper current of mastery, one that moves mountains through the quiet authority of being rather than doing. Consider the nature of a mighty oak. It does not fight the wind. It stands rooted in its own essence. Through this anchored presence, it shapes the very air that moves around it. This is the paradox of true power. The less you strain to control, the more naturally order aligns with your presence. In the outskirts of Eleanor's kingdom lived a renowned horse tamer named Solomon. While others used force to break the spirit of wild horses, Solomon would simply sit in the pasture, emanating calm certainty. Day after day, the horses drew closer until they freely offered their partnership. Watching him work, Eleanor witnessed how genuine power requires no force. It attracts through the magnetic pull of centered stillness. A master does not chase after control, Solomon shared, but cultivates such inner stability that chaos naturally arranges itself into harmony around them. His words struck Eleanor's heart with the ring of truth. She had been reaching outward when true sovereignty awaited within. This wisdom transforms your relationship with power itself. Rather than exhausting yourself trying to direct every detail, you learn to rest in the seat of quiet authority. From this throne of inner stillness, you need not force or fight. Your centered presence naturally orders reality around you. Sacred practice. When faced with challenge or conflict, pause before reacting. Take one deep breath and feel yourself seated upon an invisible throne of consciousness. Let your awareness rest in this place of sovereign stillness until you feel calm return to your being. Only then, move forward with action that arises not from force, but from centered power. The throne you seek has always existed within you. Chapter 30. The Final Degree of Command. Through the ages, a sacred truth has echoed in temples and whispered in meditation halls. True power flows not from exertion, but from stillness. In a bustling marketplace, Leona watched merchants shouting their wares, each trying to command attention through force of will. For years, she too had pushed against life's currents, believing mastery meant constant assertion of desire. Yet something shifted when she observed an elderly tea-master serving guests. The tea-master moved with such grace that the entire room seemed to arrange itself around her presence. No orders were given, no demands made, yet every cup found its perfect place. Every guest received exactly what they needed. In that moment, Leona glimpsed a profound truth. Command and creation were never separate forces. The teaching reveals itself. The word become is identical to allow. When consciousness aligns with its true nature, creation unfolds naturally, without strain. Just as a flower doesn't force its petals open, but allows the morning sun to call forth its beauty. Our highest power emerges through recognition rather than force. This understanding integrates all previous laws into one pristine truth. Consciousness commands simply by being. The universe responds not to what we demand, but to what we are. Every thought, every intention, every desire manifests not through pushing against reality, but through embodying the frequency of its fulfillment. Later, Leona sat before a candle in her evening meditation. As she watched the flame dance, another layer of wisdom unveiled itself. The flame had never been separate from fire. It was fire expressing itself in that moment. Similarly, we have never been separate from the creative force of the universe. We are that force in expression. This teaching completes the circle of mastery. Power does not come to us. It flows through us when we release the illusion of separation. In that surrender, we discover we have always been the throne upon which divine will sits. Sacred practice. Find a quiet space and settle into a comfortable position. Allow your breath to become smooth and steady. Visualize light flowing down through your crown chakra, filling your heart with golden radiance. As you rest in this state of receptive awareness, mentally declare with quiet certainty, I and the universe are one command. Let this truth resonate through every cell. The 33rd key has turned. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. Through the journey of these sacred teachings, you have traversed the ancient pathways of wisdom, not as a seeker, but as one remembering their inherent divinity. The Master Key was never a distant treasure. It has always pulsed within your own consciousness, awaiting this moment of recognition. The number 33 resonates with completion, where human awareness rises to meet divine intelligence. At this threshold, manifestation no longer stems from lack or longing, but flows naturally from your aligned state of being. The universal laws you've studied reveal themselves not as external principles to be mastered, but as intrinsic expressions of your authentic nature. Reality now responds to your presence with graceful synchronicity, not because you command it, but because you have remembered your true identity as a conscious co-creator with the infinite. The world yields to your touch because you move in harmony with its deeper currents, understanding that force was never needed, only alignment. What others perceive as supernatural phenomena, you now recognize as the natural language of an awakened mind. Miracles cease to be exceptions and become the expected expression of consciousness in flow with universal intelligence. Your journey has not been one of acquisition, but of remembrance. Each teaching, each practice, each moment of insight has served to polish the mirror of self-recognition. You are no longer reaching for mastery. You are embodying it. The Master Key turns effortlessly now because you have become the key itself. Your thoughts, emotions, and actions naturally align with the highest good because you vibrate in resonance with universal truth. Continue your practices not to achieve, but to express the mastery that has awakened within you. You stand now in the full light of self-realization, where doing flows from being, and creation arises from presence. This is not the end of your journey, but the true beginning of living as who you have always been.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.